Good morning. So I was told to talk really slow since we're ahead of schedule, but I won't do that through the whole presentation. So my name is Tricia Thomas, and I am from Wichita, which is South Central Kansas if you don't know. I work at the MPO there, and I like to tell people that I'm a recovering health and human services professional because before 2015, I didn't know what an MPO was, but I know a lot about working with people, and so that's why they brought me on. Do I need to point this a certain way? So I'm not going to talk a lot. This isn't going to be a case study on WAMPO stuff. I'm going to show you a really cool tool that we use there. But before I do, just a little background. A few years ago, we did an update to our PPP, and our public participation plan, and we decided to eliminate this requirement for the public hearing. And that was because when we did it, our rooms were empty, nobody showed up. You guys probably are familiar with this song and dance. And we needed a better way to engage people. So we wanted something that was easy for us and for them. And we did an RFP and got a bunch of information back and ended up landing on this tool. They're originally called City Zen, like Zen with a Z, but they've rebranded to be publicinput.com. And they were really cool. We were really impressed with all the functionality that they had. So I'm just going to take this for a spin for you guys, just give you a little highlight about what this tool does, how we've used it. They're constantly developing, which is one thing we liked about them, because it's a group of planners and tech guys who got together who were really frustrated with not having something that they could use in their fields. And so they're trying to create this perfect tool for planners to do public engagement with. So it integrates all sorts of things from online surveys to social media, email, paper surveys, basically taking traditional and non-traditional engagement means and merging it all into one, and then having a way that they can pull information out. I say they, I'm talking about us. We can pull information out really easily because it's just me. We are an 8-person staff. So I have to not only run the engagement, but I also have to pull it out and create reports. And so this tool is really cool because it lets me do this really easily. And then also share with partners. So this is kind of what I was talking about, these siloed processes. If some of you use Constant Contact to manage your distribution lists or your newsletters, or SurveyMonkey to do your surveys. There's all sorts of electronic tools which are amazing and I've used, but this kind of puts it all in one place. We had a whole page of logins, like we log in for here to do this and here to do that, and this gives us one place to do a lot of things. So here's the overview, and so this is going to be a little interactive. At the end, I want you to pull your cell phones out because I want you to be able to see what it's like to use this tool as a participant. But it's mobile friendly, and a person doesn't have to register or sign in or do anything unless you want to require them to in order to use it. And it's mobile device friendly, so it looks great whether you're looking at it on your laptop or your desktop or your mobile phone. And then it's got built-in email and text functionality for a variety of ways. So like if you've used SurveyMonkey, you know you have a project and a survey associated with the project. Well, with this, every time you create a new survey, it creates a unique email address connected to that survey so that you could share this public input email address with people, and people could submit narrative comments and it would all feed into your database of comments. So it's really cool. And we'll talk more about the text later. Let me catch up in my notes because I think I had something important to say on this slide that I'm forgetting. Or am I buying time? So This groups contacts. So if you have a CRM that you use, a customer relationship management tool, or you can see when people comment, you can see where they're commenting from. If you don't put, like, what's your zip code or something like that in it, it still can see where their device is located. So you always get geographic pinpoints on where the person's device is. So it's really interesting to see. And it also talks to other programs. So anything that's got an API, which I'm not a technical person, so Google it, but it interfaces with other things that run off an API. So this is something I use a lot. It's really cool. It's kind of like a reverse Mexican flag almost, but they're little bubbles that pop up, and the color is sentiment, and the bubbles are themes. So say you got a ton of narrative comments, and this is kind of, if anybody's done like data coding in the past with narrative comments where you're trying to pull out themes, this does it for you automatically, which is amazing. And you can go back through and add, like say you found a comment and it missed the campus bubble or whatever, you can add it too, so you can go back and make sure you've captured everything, but it's a really nice time-saving option because it codes all of your narrative for you. And then the red and the green are the sentiments. So they might say, I really hate this project. This is terrible. It's going to do terrible things for our community. And it'll automatically code that to red for you so that you know this is a negative sentiment. Maybe I should take a look at this. And then the reverse for the green, which are the positive, really supportive comments or complimentary. And this is, the themes are, it's a computer learning. So every time you do a survey, it learns more and more as you're defining your themes. It will pick them up every time. So every time you do a survey, it gets smarter, which we really like. And the thing I really like, just on the back side of things, is that it generates reports. And I'll show you an example of one in a minute, but it does reporting for me, so you can see how many participants, how many comments, how many answers. You can download it to Excel or to PDF. It creates pie charts and everything for you, bar graphs. You can customize them. So it makes it really easy. So the day the survey closes, I can print out a report, and yeah, I might have to go back and clean up the theme and sentiments a little bit, but I can give a real quick highlight of what happened, what were the responses. So it's been a real game changer for us. The dynamic report I'll show you, this is an interactive, and it updates live. So, and it can do crosstabs and all sorts of other stuff if you want it to. So there's a lot of functionality in this tool. We're pretty new to using it, so not all of this other stuff have we used, but I just wanted to highlight a little bit of it. Here it goes. So here you can, I think, the translation. Sorry, I missed my own header there. One of the things in our RFP that was really important to us was translation. And this tool is really cool because it'll take your survey questions and automatically translate them for you in whatever language that you select. But then it also interprets back the responses. So maybe you have multiple choice in a comment and there's a block of text in another language that you don't speak. It will translate that back and then integrate it into all of the other comments. So it's really cool. And it will do the same for the sentiment and themes too. I forgot I put these graphics in here. I'm thinking, how did I do that? Okay. Okay, so this was another thing. We haven't quite, we're about to use this. We haven't used it yet, but this was another thing that pushed us over the edge to pick this product. and it was about targeting and geofencing. So one of the things we wanted to do better was to do outreach to our member communities so that we could say, hey, your constituents in community A said this, and your constituents in community B said this, and they both like it, or whatever. We wanted to be able to talk to our elected officials about their home communities as well as about the region. And so this uses social media. You know, if you have a Facebook page, you say, my hometown is Denver and I live in Jefferson City. It uses your social media to target you. So if you say you live here and we have a survey that's about a project here, it will reach out to those people and it'll pop up on their social media and say, hey, have you heard about this project in your city? And then all the information feeds right back into the database. So it's pretty cool. You can ask me later how it worked for us. We were going to use it, but it's something we were really excited about. So this was also a really cool feature. You can create dozens of links within the same survey. So say you have a sign at the bus stop, that will be one, and then you have a mobile app text option to respond to the same survey, and maybe they're different by lines, bus route lines. So if you want to see, okay, was the postcard effective or was the bus stop flyer most effective, you can look to see which strategy was most effective so that you can keep repeating that and maybe let go of the ones where, well, nobody even responded to that. So that's a way both to diversify how you're reaching people, but also see how successful you're being. So this is a new, well, actually, they've had this access and coordination. You can coordinate within your jurisdictions with consultants and other MPOs or even state DOTs. Last week, I was talking to them, and they've added in a new functionality that gives permission management. So say you want to give your DOT access to the surveys or to create surveys, or maybe you just want them to be able to view. So you can give different levels of access to your partners or your overseers so that they can be part of this process. Again with those. So I wanted to put a slide on the limitations. So this doesn't do everything, so it will not replace your website, although it does integrate with it very well. For live meetings, and I can show you, there's something called meeting mode where you can pull this up and do live engagement in a meeting. There's also a mayor mode that's really cool that's got high-level information for elected officials to be able to just see really quick at a glance what's happening with the engagement, but it does require internet connection, so that's one thing that is a limitation potentially. And then I don't know who does Scantrons, but that, because I asked them, I said, I can't think of any other limitations, and they said, well, we can't do Scantron, so if you're doing those types of surveys, you can't upload them. But they integrate with Qualtrics and all sorts of other things if you're using different ways to capture data. So pricing and support, it's an annual license. It's kind of like a web-based subscription. So it includes all sorts of stuff. And they are very responsive. They helped me put this presentation together. They make me videos when I don't understand how to use something, so they're very helpful. Maybe. This is our service agreement. This is a little out of date. I know the cost is a little different. We negotiated this rate because we weren't sure about it, and we wanted to do some piloting of it before we made a decision. I think our rate will be $12,000 next year. So I think it's been well worth the cost. We use it for major surveys as well as smaller polls. Like we sent out a poll to paratransit providers to see what level of interest there would be for 5310 funding in 2020, and it made it really easy for us to do that. And I forgot to mention earlier with the relationship management, say you have Jane Doe and she responds to every survey and says, we need more bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure. And John says, well, passenger rail is important. And the database starts to recognize these themes with the individuals, and you can then pull out almost a subcommittee on a topic based on what they're interested in, and it kind of manages people's interest area. So then you can just, if they've given their email, you can send out an email to these 20 individuals who are interested in this pocket or subject and engage on that. So that's one really cool thing that it does too. Let me go back to this. They offer 4 hours of monthly training and consulting too, packaged up with this tool, which is really handy because sometimes when we start with our initiatives, I want to chat with him about what's the best way to ask this question, or what's the best way, and they have a planning background so they can, they're already on the same page with what I'm trying to do, and they can just start talking. So it's kind of like free consulting too, all wrapped up in this tool. So I can't say enough good things about this. My information's there too if you want to email me or call me and chat about what you're doing. I'm happy to partner. So if you have questions too, I'm happy to stand for them.